It seems like it's harder than ever for phones to really stand out these days, but ASUS are hoping their new Zenfone AR can do just that. Flip the phone over and you'll see one of the most impressive and industrial looking camera setups on a phone. It packs all the tech and camera lenses needed to support augmented reality with Google Tango, as well as virtual reality with Google Daydream. The Zenfone AR is actually only the second phone ever to support Tango. There's a range of augmented reality apps pre-installed, which I guess you could also call bloatware, but they're a cool way of trying out AR. A lot of it does come across as a bit gimmicky, although walking around a model of a BMW i8 in your living room is quite cool, even if it is a bit clunky. Or even first-person AR shooters like Fantogeist is a lot of fun, for about 5 minutes. One of the more useful apps though is Measure. You probably don't need me to tell you what that does, but if you're thinking about remodeling a room or buying some new furniture, this could come in handy. So the technology behind Google Tango has been in development for years, but to date there's 1 tablet, 2 phones, and about 50 apps that support it. Adoption has been slow to say the least. So if you're thinking about investing in a phone like the Zenfone AR purely for Tango support, I really don't think it's worthwhile for 99% of us, but there may be some professional use cases that do make it worthwhile. And also there's the new iPhones to consider, which offer comparable AR experiences. I'm sure there are some technical advantages to Tango, but for casual users like me, the iPhone is an attractive alternative if you really want augmented reality. But the good news is that the Zenfone AR offers a lot more than just augmented reality. The 5.7-inch Quad HD display is vibrant and looks really sharp. It feels thin and light in the hand, and while the faux leather back is definitely going to divide opinion, I'm not the biggest fan. It basically looks like a car dashboard, but at least it means it's not slippery to hold. But next to the Zenfone 4 with its shimmering glass body, the Zenfone AR looks more like a prototype or something meant for industry use, and it also lacks any water or dust resistance. But what it does have is a fingerprint reader built into the home button, which is exceptionally fast and it works consistently well. I really like the fingerprint reader on this. It's also got a headphone jack on the bottom, which I feel like is something that reviewers need to actually mention these days, as well as USB-C and a single speaker grill on the bottom. It is a little disappointing to see the Zenfone AR comes with a Snapdragon 821 processor rather than the current flagship 835, so it's not as future-proof, but in reality you're not really going to notice much difference, and it's paired with a generous 6 or even 8 GB of RAM, as well as 64, 128 or 256 GB storage options. Hopefully it'll be updated to Zen UI 4 and Android 7.1 or even Android 8 soon, but swiping between screens, launching apps and browsing the web feels just as fast on the Zenfone AR as it does on my Galaxy S8. Now let's get back to the camera. Let's put aside the Tango AR stuff just for 1 second and talk about the 23 megapixel f2.0 camera with optical image stabilization. Photos are decent, but nothing really to write home about. In good light, pictures look nice with accurate colors and a good level of detail, but dynamic range is poor with brighter areas looking blown out. It's worse still in low light, and it's difficult to get a shot that doesn't come out blurry. And also, despite the 2 lenses on the back, you don't get a wide angle or telephoto option. All that stuff is purely for Tango AR stuff. If you want to take more control of your photos though, you can tap the little M button next to the shutter for manual mode, which lets you adjust the focus, white balance, ISO, and shutter speed. There's also an 8 megapixel front-facing camera with lots of beauty modes built in, which is something that ASUS are really pushing on their Zenphones. So I think photos are decent overall, but video isn't. Just look at this and how noisy and shaky and horrible this footage is. I'm literally just walking in a straight line, keeping the phone as still as possible in my hand. Clearly the OIS isn't having much effect in video, and it's the same whether I shoot in 4K or 1080p. Compare that to 4K video shot on my Galaxy S8, and well, you don't need me to point out the differences. Moving on, in terms of battery life, we've got a 3300 mAh cell inside the phone, which will get you through a full day. But running any VR or AR apps will drain it faster, like a lot faster. But for normal, everyday use, I tend to have around 25% of my battery left by the end of the day. And also it does support Quick Charge 3 through the USB-C port, so you can get about 60% of your battery with 40 minutes of charging. So that's the Zenfone AR. The good stuff includes a vibrant and sharp 5.7-inch screen, solid performance, Google Tango AR and Daydream VR apps, a decent stills camera, and a well-built, lightweight design. But the not so good stuff is the fact that AR just really isn't that useful or that fleshed out for most people right now. And unless you have a very specific use for it, it's not going to be that important for most people, I don't think. Also, the camera should be better considering the price, especially video quality. And also, considering it's running the older Snapdragon 821 and an older version of Zen UI, some of it already feels a bit dated. But despite its flaws, it's still a good phone to use, and I do hope that AR gets more support in the future. But then we get to the price, which is a little bit confusing because it appears to be around $600 in the US, but about £800 here in the UK. Either way, it's a lot of money, and you're clearly paying a premium for the Tango features. So unless you really want an augmented reality Tango-enabled device, of which this is, the best one out there right now, there are better phones out there than the Zenfone AR. So that's what I think, but what do you reckon? Is Google Tango worth paying extra for? Would you get much use out of augmented reality apps? Let me know in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you did, and I'll see you next time right here on the Tech Chat.